Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the APA Pool Player Nation podcast. I'm Becky Johnston here with Jason Bowman. Hope you guys are all doing well. Before we get started, as usual, make sure you go follow us on all of our social platforms, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X, YouTube, subscribe, all of the things so that you make sure you keep up with all of our stuff.
Do it now. Right now. We won't continue until you've done it.
Did you do it?
That seems a little quick.
Well,
a little quick.
Yeah. Go hit that button.
You work on it
Subscribe.
while we talk.
Yeah. So, obviously a lot's been going on the last couple of weeks since we last were on here.
When was the last time we were on here?
Last month, right before Valentine's Day, I think.
Before Valentine's Day.
Yeah. So about a month. About a month ago or so.
In the middle of dead of winter, I feel like the last time.
Now we see a light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, spring has arrived. Spring has arrived. Spring regionals are in the books, right?
Yeah, those are all finished, I think.
Last wave of people coming to Vegas for the Pool Player Championships, which are right around the corner. Mm-hmm. Should be another record-breaking event in terms of attendance, I would assume. Just gets bigger every year.
Yeah.
Second year now that we've had several of the Showdown Series events, including Masters and ladies there, so it's it really has balanced out the two events, right? I mean the August event's still definitely the world's largest
for sure,
by a pretty good clip, but you have quite a few more people now coming out in April, May, and that'll be fun.
Yeah,
exciting.
We're excited.
Got some new people coming out, some new fan faves. I'm gonna wait. I'm not gonna announce it here in this episode. You'll have to tune into the preview show.
Okay, good idea.
But if all and it's still in the works, but if everything works out, I think people will be really excited about some of the folks that may be out at the Pool Player Championships this year.
Yeah.
So cool stuff in the works, and we're just kind of putting the final touches on that event. So we'll be here before you know it. A few weeks,
I know,
about
just
3 weeks till we pack the truck, and then couple of, a week after that, 10 days after that, we all head out. Some of us earlier than others.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's an exciting time.
It's all here, and we're
here for it.
We're here for it.
Becky will be there for it.
I will be there.
Yeah.
I will be there. See you guys all out there. It's Women's History Month too this month.
A lot of important women in the world of pool and the world of APA, no doubt.
Yeah.
We talk about some of those folks today, I'm sure.
We are. One of the, I think we could say one of the most recognizable faces in pool for women. Well, really in pool. Jeanette Lee, the Black Widow.
Yeah.
She also was here.
Probably the most recognized.
Yeah, I was going to say, not even
I don't
just
know
woman.
that there's anyone else. I know she's not necessarily on the global competitive stage these days, but she's the one most likely to get stopped in the airport by somebody here, or you know what I mean, some random
at a
place,
restaurant or something.
Yeah, is Jeanette, and big name, big face
for sure. She also
huge impact.
We had a chance to catch up with her, but before we take a look at that, she actually was here a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
So that's kind of exciting that you guys will be seeing new social content on all of our platforms very soon. We've put a couple out so far, so if you haven't checked those out, go look at them. But lots more.
Somebody actually beat her when she came to the studio.
Somebody did. One of our staff
with the
members.
meta glasses on of all time. So that's kind of a cool moment for Dalton, who wore those meta glasses and beat her. He's a skill level 4. It was just one rack, right? And I think they played again, and she beat him pretty good. But
we did.
She still got it, no doubt about it.
She does for sure.
Got it, and. That was fun when she was here. It was the first time she had been to the APA studio.
That's true. And, she's come to St. Louis, but she hasn't been here since we had the studio.
Yeah, I mean, she's traveling more now and doing shows again and looking great. And so, and you'll hear a lot of that in the interview. So,
yeah. Should we take a look?
Let it roll.
Let's see it. We are joined today by the one and only Jeanette Lee, the Black Widow. How are you?
I'm good. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you.
The Black Widow is back, baby.
Back.
Yeah, breaking balls and taking names. Let's go.
Officially.
Yeah, Jeanette, it's always good to see you. We were talking here. It's just been over 5 years now since the huge news that shook us all, and certainly you the most, that when you were diagnosed with stage 4 ovarian cancer, that was early 2021. Here we are 5 years later, and I think the world, one, is happy to see, but we want to know, how are things? How are you doing?
Oh man, I'm doing so much better. I mean, before the cancer, I already had ankylosing spondylitis, fibromyalgia, degenerative disc disease. I had all kinds of medical and health issues that I had been battling for a long time. And I truly believe that that is what actually prepared me for stage 4 ovarian cancer, because like my girls said, it wasn't as shocking to them. I mean, it was a shock, but they said, she's kind of been sick our whole lives. This is like just another thing that our mom just takes on and overcomes and is going to get through. So we know she's going to get through this. And that kind of warmed my heart, because they weren't as terrified. Obviously, it's still scary. They're not stupid. They knew the risks. But for me, I think it would have been a lot more overwhelming had I not already been through smaller things and things adding on and growing. So by the time I had stage 4, I mean, one, I've seen the world. I've traveled. I've met some of the most incredible athletes and celebrities in the world, but Muhammad Ali and Wayne Gretzky and Michael Jordan and, Shaquille O'Neal, Reggie Bush. It's been an incredible ride, but I would have been okay with going. But when you have children, you have a different level of motivation. And for me, the idea of leaving them without a mom was just terrifying. And so I just put it in my mind to get through it. But through that all, I was already on plenty of medication, but after the cancer diagnosis, I could no longer get treated for my autoimmune diseases, which are immunosuppressants. So my pain levels went up, and I just wasn't as active moving around. So my muscles were atrophying. So I had to learn how to become active. I'm back up to my normal weight, which has been huge, but I still need a lot of strength. I lost a lot of strength, and just getting back into healthy daily routine. When each day passes and passes, after a while, you forget what day it is, what time it is. So you get out of your normal routine. So I've had to work my way back into a normal, healthy routine, and creating that schedule when I kind of work for myself. I proudly represent APA, but when I was at home, I have to figure out, how I'm going to manage my days and manage the girls and things like that. So there's been growing pains all along the way, but I'm very proud to be here. And I'm very truly honored. I can sincerely say I'm honored and humbled by the amount of love and support I got from the fans out there, and especially the APA family, not just especially corporate. They immediately had my back. You guys immediately had my back, but also our APA players worldwide. I mean, I was just hearing from people everywhere, and it gave me a lot of encouragement. And I can say that there were plenty of days I just didn't want to get out of bed. I still occasionally have those days. And having that extra support, I get a lot of compliments on the number of people that I've inspired, the people whose lives I touched, but I don't know if it's as obvious how much their support, your support, impacted me. But it's like hard to clean your house, but it's easy to help clean someone else's house. It's easy for me to do for others, but not as much for myself. And there were times that for me, I think I would have stayed in bed and maybe not fought so hard, but knowing that there were people counting on me. My children were enough. They were enough motivation, but I got a world of motivation, because I didn't want to let all the people down that were inspired by me. I didn't want a story to end on a sad note. And so I've kept fighting. I'm still fighting, but I'm very grateful today.
And what do the doctors tell you at this point in relation to your cancer diagnosis?
So to be honest, they say I'm doing very well.
Great.
I'm technically in remission. However, there's always the side note that ovarian cancer tends to always come back. And since it was stage 4, it metastasized, it often come back in another area. And so I have to stay on chemo for the rest of my life. And there's side effects to those things. I have a lot of, chronic fatigue. I had some concussions, which caused some memory loss from some accidents that happened after the cancer. And I have some delayed comprehension, word recall, and memory loss issues that I am learning to live with and manage. And I already had ADHD, not that you guys didn't know that, but I have really bad ADHD. So organization and time management, procrastination, and, doing things at the last minute is something that was kind of regular for me, but it's just, I've always known that it's not acceptable and it's not an excuse. It's just, it can be a superpower. I think ADHD helped me be the world champion I wanted to be because I loved pool so much and I was able to give that intense focus when you're motivated. So for all the other stuff, it's been very difficult, but through it all, I've learned and grown so much. And I have a lot of positive hopes. I know that it could come back. So I try to cherish every day, every minute with my children, with my friends, my family, with my supporters. I want to enjoy every moment. But at the same time, I'm not afraid to look ahead, which I couldn't say a few years ago.
Yeah. I so distinctly remember getting the news early in 21 and just being shocked. I'm sure you were shocked, Becky. I mean, all of us were shocked. And I think a lot of us feared the worst, that, maybe your story was coming to an end. But, I also don't think at the same time that any of us are surprised that here we are 5 years later and you look as good as ever because you've been doing this your entire life. You've been overcoming the odds. You've been the comeback story. And kind of like you said, everything you've gone through prepares you for just this next battle. And just a remarkable story. I mean, I can remember one of the first times we talked after you were diagnosed, and you said, listen, this is just another way for me to inspire others. And I remember it so well because it stopped me in my tracks. I was upset, you were upset, and yet you were on a different level with the thinking. And I was just like, wow, that's such a profound thing. And, over the last 5 years, I mean, so much has happened since the diagnosis. You had the ESPN 30 for 30. You had the autobiography. You've had a number of different things that just goes to show how strong not only you are physically, but how strong your brand is. And I'm just curious kind of how you feel about everything that's happened since then in the last 5 years.
I'm kind of humbled by what you said. I feel like people give me so much credit for my courage and my strength, but I think it's just, I don't know how to quit. I never saw it as an option. And I feel like if I don't do anything beyond the battles that I've faced, then it was all for nothing. You went through it for nothing. There was no reason. And I went through scoliosis so that years later, I could become the national spokesperson for the Scoliosis Association. But I didn't know that when I was 12.
Yeah.
It was just my world was collapsing around me. I was going to be scarred for life all through down the back of my spine. No man was ever going to want me. I'm never going to get married. I'm never going to, like I was 12, and,
Sure.
and I had to learn how to walk again. I went to middle school, with these huge braces on, and it was, just actually at my third tough time. I had already had 2 surgeries before then, but that was the big, big one. But it really is a matter of sometimes when things hit you really hard, you just got to hang on. You don't have to smile. You don't have to be pleasant. I mean, be nice to, but sometimes it takes you everything you have just to get out of bed. It really, really does. And I get that. It's just the longer you stay in bed, if you're not happy with your life now, if you're not if you're too dependent on other people, if you have to ask for help, if you can't really, make it to the bathroom as comfortably as you'd like, the longer you stay in the bed, the worse it's going to get. You're guaranteeing it's never going to get better, never. And so you have to fight. You have to be willing to be uncomfortable, to go through, to walk every time instead of sticking the commode next to your bed. Go, make yourself walk, do whatever little things you have to do. And for me, there's been so much like just being knocked to the ground physically, mentally, emotionally. And then the guilt and the pressure of how do I support my girls through everything that they've been through because of me, because of what I did to them through my trauma. And you got to just take one step at a time and just pick little goals and just say, I'm not perfect. I was never meant to be perfect. I've just got to keep working on the little things and hope that in the long run, you do some good through it all. And so I'm grateful to have had that opportunity. And man, the support. I mean, I got to be in Ha Ha You Clown, which is an animated series. You can see it on YouTube. And there goes my word
Cartoon
recall
Network,
again.
I think.
Yeah, Cartoon Network.
Adult Swim.
Adult Swim, yeah.
That's it.
Adult Swim.
Yeah.
And then I was just in a movie called 1 a.m. Pacific Time. So that'll air sometime next year, probably streaming somewhere near you, which was awesome. It was a pretty decent sized role. So I was excited about that because I've been in other movies, but they were just cameo roles, those short. And I'm playing pool again. Pool again. And I mean, I was able to do exhibitions. But I mean, actually like playing for fun, just for fun, not going out there and doing trick shots. And I was fortunate to get a good enough level that even without practice, I can go to an exhibition and beat, pretty much anyone and have a good time, do some trick shots, make everyone happy. But what feeds my soul is playing pool. It's just my thing and I love it. And so to be able to do that again, I have this app. It's a habit app. So it helps people with ADHD, and you write the things down that you want to add to help you build routines. And it would also check your mood. And, I wrote, wash up, clean your room for 10 minutes, check all your email, do this, spend at least 5 minutes, answering text, spend at least, different times of day and stuff like that. But one of the things, it gives you prompts. And one of them, it says, do one thing that makes you happy. And I just haven't gotten to check that off in a long time. It's not that things that I'm not happy or that my children don't make me happy or do an exhibition meeting people that I'm not happy doing it. But I took that to be like something that's totally selfish, that's just all yours, that's not to benefit anyone else, just you. That's the way I took that. And I haven't gotten to do the one thing that just really is so selfish, that just brings me joy, is getting to play pool, which kind of seems silly in the whole wide scope of everything I've done, everything I do, everything I've overcome, but that itch is still there. It got taken away from me. My body has let me down. So I was able to play less and less. And then after the cancer, I was in a couple of car-related accidents, one of which I was flipped upside down and stuck down a stairwell for about 40 minutes before they could get me out. And it caused severe damage to my spine and it caused severe pain. I mean, the most intense nonstop pain for the last 4 years. And so walking was very difficult. And just even sitting up, as soon as I sat up, the compression, it caused it to be so painful. And with sciatic pain, it doesn't matter if you're laying down, if you're moving or not, it still hurts. But standing or sitting up or walking made it a lot worse. And so it's really been a struggle. And recently I had 2 back surgeries that completely got rid of that. So I'm so happy now. I'm so happy. So look for bigger and better things coming soon.
That's awesome. You are talking about playing pool again, and you recently competed in the WPBA event, right? The first event of the year. I know that was emotional, not only probably for you, but for your fans as well. We saw them all kind of come to your support online. What was that moment for you like personally?
Well, I think I went into it with the right attitude. I had no intention of playing in that tournament. But within driving distance, Pat Fleming, who I've admired for a long time, just for his contribution to the sport. And he's been having this event called the International Open that I wanted to support him in his effort, since it was just driving distance away. And when I was there, I met the owners of the Classic Billiards that was hosting the Players Championship. They're like, Jeanette, you got to be there. You got to be there. And I said, it doesn't make sense. I said, I haven't been playing. I'm not prepared. I don't have, sponsors in that way. It's expensive, airfare, entry fee, hotel, everything. And I said, I don't know that I'm in a position to ask for sponsorship or where I would even begin. And if I want to do all of that work that I did 20, 30 years ago. And I said, I'm just happy to be playing pool and being able to do what I'm able to do. And absolutely not. It's their 50th anniversary. You've got to come. And it was, again, the Players Champion Classic Billiards is in Fort Lauderdale. So it was, again, driving distance. And it was so good to see the girls. But I just told myself before, because I had just started playing pool after the surgery rehab period, only a few weeks. And I said, just go in there and do your best and just make sure you enjoy every minute of it. Because I wasn't sure if I'd be able to ever compete again. And so I wouldn't say I'm competition ready now, but I'm praying I will be. I don't know. I would really have to have full sponsorship for it to make sense for me to go full time again. But that would sure make me happy. I miss playing, but that event proved that I still miss competing. I didn't realize that, I think, until I got in there, and I was expecting to get in there and my chest to be pounding and for me to be like so completely. When you play in a lot of tournaments, that's the greatest thing about APA leagues that I didn't have when I started. Every week you get to compete. Now it's up to you what you get out of it. What's guaranteed is that you're going to have fun, you're going to meet people, you're going to play pool. It's a great time and it's a great social network. It's a great community and a reason for you to get out of bed, get off Netflix, get off your phone, and actually be around real people doing something fun. It's not like you're going to a bar and sitting there hoping someone talks to you. You're guaranteed to meet people and do all these things. That's guaranteed. But as a player, forget that. As a competitor, as a player, you're going to get better because with APA, you're also allowed to get coaches. And by having the support of a team, you guys going to talk to each other. You're going to learn, period. But competition, becoming a great player and being a great competitor are not the same thing. They're aligned, but they're not the same. Sure. And I think that what helped me to become number one was that I spent a lot of time playing, but I also studied the mental side of the game. Right. So the pre-shot routine, just peak performance, mental imagery, vision, positive affirmations, just all these different, I would make all these little cassette tapes, video cassette of me saying positive mantras to myself and listen to it. I had Post-its and index cards everywhere, positive affirmations when I was, gunning for number one. And, my point was, sorry to get back, there goes my ADHD again, is when you're competing all the time and you have that feeling of all the pressure and the adrenaline, those nerves, what feels like anxiety and panic, it just means you care about what you're doing. If you didn't feel anything, it just meant like you don't feel anything when you open a door. There's no accomplishment there. You've done it a million times. There's nothing exciting about that. But competing, there's something on the line and you want to do your best. So of course you're going to be nervous. But the amateurs, they fight the nervousness. They focus on the nervousness. Whereas the pros, they almost wear it like a badge of honor. They know that they get to feel that anxiety and those nerves. They get to feel those things because they dared to enter the arena. But you have to brace for that. You know, you're going to get to wear it. You asked for it. You jumped in that arena. But now you have to be able to brace, get in, and just trust yourself. You know, just trust what got you there. And that's where all the mental practice really comes in, is to keep kind of pushing yourself, saying, it's okay. Yes, you feel the nerves, but you can get there. And when I was in that tournament, I wasn't what I call competition tough, right? Tournament tough is the phrase that pros use a lot, because playing as many tournaments as you can, you get used to that feeling. So now you can just trust yourself and do your job instead of focusing on the nervousness. If you go every week to league and you're having a great time, but when you're playing, you're just banging balls, you're just throwing, you're just expecting to go through the motions and win your match, instead of doing your best and really wanting to do great for your team and allowing yourself to feel that pressure, what that does is it prepares you for when the tournament comes around, when triannuals come, when world qualifiers come. You're more prepared for it because you're used to giving that effort during league play. That's every week competition that you get to practice building the mindset of a champion versus just building your pool game. And when I got to that tournament, I really thought I would be in bad shape because I haven't competed in so long, but nope. I drew Kelly first round.
That's a tough draw.
And yeah, it was actually a very tough draw. Everyone said I got Kelly Fisher and then Susan Williams and then Amy, I think her name was Amy Chen from Taiwan, great player. They both played great. But oh no, I wanted to rip Kelly's throat out. I was ready. I was so excited. Again, not saying that you don't feel the nerves, but it was almost like I just rode a bicycle again. You know, I mean, people would say it's just like riding a bike, but when you haven't done it a million times and then you put that bike up 150 feet in the air, it's not exactly the same thing, you know? So for me, here I am, haven't been playing, haven't been practicing, haven't been competing, and now I'm going to a world professional tournament with a stronger field than we've ever had. And so I really thought I would take the heat, but instead I was able to just accept it and focus on doing my best. And that's not to say that nerves didn't get to me here or there, but what I found is more of it had to do with my focus. That's something I noticed before. When I was younger, my brain was always a mess. It was always going on too many things. It was very difficult to focus. But pool, I think that's part of what made me become obsessed with it. It was like the first time in my life up to that point that I could remember my brain actually being quiet. Like no talk, no, what should I be doing? What should I have done? What could I have done? What am I supposed to be doing? What, you know, where did I leave this? Where did I do that? You know, what did I forget? Like just all this stuff. And when I played pool, it was like, it's just like being hugged by a warm cloud, you know, and I got to just explore, you know, the game and do whatever. My brain was just quiet, and it was, you know, it's for me, I would imagine it's similar to someone that, for me, that it would be similar to someone that loves swimming. Like there's all this noise, but when you get down there under the water, it's just quiet, you and the waves, and you can just swim. You know, for me, it's like that when I played pool. But now, since I've started again, I've noticed it's not quiet. My voice is, I'm still thinking about, you know, my daughter or like just random thoughts. So maybe I need to retrain that.
Well, we're
definitely
thrilled to see you back on the table. And I know, just listening to you, I know how excited you are to be able to compete again. You know, March is Women's History Month, right? And when you go back and kind of look at your career, the Jeanette Lee story, if you will, obviously it's not just about the success that you've had on the table, but really it's been about motivating, inspiring a lot of other people, a lot of women, a lot of men as well. And just, how does it feel? I don't know if I don't know if we call it a responsibility or a burden, but something that you kind of take on your shoulders, including when you're sick, including when you're diagnosed with cancer. You still seem to be okay bearing this responsibility of being one of the most recognizable faces in pool, probably the most well-known, not just female player ever, but of any pool player. And so I'm just curious what your feelings are about that responsibility of the Black Widow to inspire, in particular, women during such an important month of the year.
Actually, I realize that it might sound corny, but I really think of it as a privilege.
Sure.
For me, yes, you could say it's a responsibility because I know that there are people that are following my journey, maybe followed me for many years, even before I got cancer. But, people would say, don't you ever get sick of it? People interrupting you in the restaurant, the bathroom, in the watching football, anything, just people coming up to you randomly. And I'm like, think about what a blessing it is to be able to make someone's day by just smiling at them, by just treating them like a normal human being and seeing them, taking a moment and saying, I see you. It's unbelievable. I don't know if there's more richness that you can receive than being able to bring joy to the world, right? And I'm not bringing joy to the world. Maybe it's just one person at a time. But to be able to is amazing. And so, people say, I was doing a show for Aaron Hernandez and Trisha and Chad in Chicago,
Chicago area,
Chicago,
league operators, yeah.
Yeah, West Suburban Chicago APA and DuPage APA. And while I was there, even before, there were people talking to us, and then I escaped to a couple pool rooms and hit some balls. I think the last place I went was the Q Club, and they said, doesn't it get old, these people, coming up to you and talking to you? And I think, to be realistic, if you're going to be a professional in professional sports, you have to know that your sport that you love will not thrive as a profession without your fans. That's a fact. And if you're not willing to grace them with a smile when you're in the public eye, when it's the public that feeds your family, then you shouldn't be a professional. And I know that sounds harsh, and I'm not saying it from a conceited point of view. I thought that from day one, when I first became a professional, it was important to me that I represent my sport well, and that I also felt treated unfairly several points in my career for several reasons. I needed to make sure. There's this saying, it's on a bracelet I gave to Helene. I got it back when she passed, and it said, be the change you want to see in the world. I wanted to make sure whenever there were rookies, rather than judging them, I would embrace them and I would meet them. So I would go out of my way to say hello. My whole career, I would go out of my way to say, when rookies came in or anyone that's questioned, never make them feel like they're disturbing me. It's part of, it's like what you do for your jobs. You do what you need to do. And in some jobs, you can leave it at work. And in some jobs, you can't. Well, as a professional, I feel like you can't. You can at home, but when you're out in the public, it is your public that supports the sport you love.
Sure.
So you have to love them back. And so in that way, it's a responsibility. But for me, it's a privilege and a blessing because I don't know. I think ever since I was a little girl, my sister and my friends, but even I remember, like, I was a pretty happy kid when I was really young. And all I wanted to do was make people happy. I was always like serving people and offering cookies and drawing things for people. And I was just always that way. And now I don't have to do any of that. I can just smile and go, hi, I see you. Yeah, sure, I'll sign this autograph. Something that takes a moment. Take a picture? Sure. It's a blessing for me.
Yeah, you mentioned that early on in your career, you felt like you were maybe mistreated in some different ways, and I don't want to get too far into that part of it.
Misunderstood.
Yeah, misunderstood, and that's kind of what I wanted to ask about. I mean, when you first came into the pro world, like you had a really steep climb into success, which a lot of times people are like, oh, when somebody achieves success very quickly, but you also had the tough persona, the all black, the ESPN sexiest athlete. You had the brand was different than it is today. And I wonder, your health struggles, the things you've overcome, has that made Jeanette Lee, the Black Widow, more likable to a much bigger audience? I personally feel like it has, but I'm curious if you have felt that.
Being older now, I understand why some of the women just didn't give me a chance. And I was bold about saying what my goals were, which was, I plan to be number one. I want to be number one. I'm going to be number one. That was what the mantra, it had nothing to do with disrespecting the tour, or the women, or pros in general. It was just, since I first started to play pool, I was like, oh, I want to be the best pool player ever. That was my goal. That's all I knew. And I was too young and naive to understand that me saying I plan to be number one, I'm going to be number one, to them sounded like, I'm just going to step all over you. I can't, you guys are nothing. You guys are, which it had nothing to do with that. And they would never find a quote where I said anything to that effect, because I always gave respect to the women. There was one quote really early on. I came to the tournament, and the women, the veteran women, were passing this magazine around. I was in a ESPN, I wasn't an ESPN body issue, but it was Muscle and Fitness magazine, or Self magazine, or Shape magazine. One point, spent all this time, how excited to be on the tour, and these women played great, and I'm honored and whatever. But at one point she said, what do you look so fierce over the table. What are you thinking, when you're down like that? And I said, well, on the table, it's completely different. It's get out of my way, you get stepped on. You got to do what you got to do. You can't live, if you're going to compete, you have to be their equal. You can't just think of these women as like idols, because you're competing. It's different. So the magazine comes out, and in big, bold letters in caps as the title, get out of my way or get stepped on, says the Black Widow. So it wasn't just, I see why having a young girl saying, I'm going to be number one, to me, that's focus. But to them, it was arrogance. But it was never to put them down. It was just, I was very goal oriented. But these kinds of things, so I understand why they felt that way. I just think in a better world, in a bigger world, I was involved with the Women's Sports Foundation, founded by Billie Jean King out of New York. And they're all about enforcing Title IX, but they're the ones that invited me to become an ambassador and to be on their committee, and eventually be a board member, and talk about all women in sports and the importance of top athletes being role models, being ambassadors, to take that responsibility on and the benefits of it. And I learned from them what it meant to embrace all athletes, no matter how voiceful they are, and guide them, teach them instead of judge them. And that's the thing that I think was regrettable. They had an opportunity to nurture me, teach me, and working together, we might have done even greater things. But instead, I was alienated, I was rejected, I was tormented, and mocked, ridiculed, and had some very mean things done to me. And I had to build my name without the WPBA. I used them as a platform, and I'm forever grateful for that. And what the WPBA is today is an amazing organization that I'm very, very proud to support. And I realized it wasn't the WPBA, it was really a handful of women. It's just that to me, they represented the WPBA at that time. It was all the top women at that time. And so I had to learn to separate that and realize they're just human. I had my mistakes. I want people to overlook them. So I have to learn to overlook that. But I do share it to tell people when somebody's acting in a way that you don't want them to, instead of judging them and criticizing, instead of alienating, you could advocate, you could educate. And you can do a lot more things together than apart. And I had journalists tell me that they would call the WPBA office and be told that, oh, well, Jeanette can be, to try to do a story on me, and that they were specifically told by the WPBA office that I could be difficult to reach. I'm very busy. Why not Ava? I was like, okay. And I heard this multiple times from multiple journalists that found me another way. But I think together we could have done a lot more. But everything was very always, I think they just wanted me gone.
Little competition off the table, it sounds like. Some competition on the table, some competition off the table.
It was rough, but I'm very proud that I can proudly say that I never lashed back.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. What would 2026 Jeanette Lee, if you could go back and say to 1992 or 1993 Jeanette Lee, when you're first breaking onto the pool scene, or even a young athlete who is just starting their career, whether it's in professional pool or otherwise, what would 2026 Jeanette Lee, with all these years of knowledge and wisdom under her belt, what kind of wisdom would you impart on yourself or someone in similar circumstances 30 years ago?
I appreciate you asking that. Actually, I should mention, if you guys want to look it up, CBS did a Note to Self. They have a series called Note to Self by Gail King, and you had to write a note to your younger self. But to answer your question, I would tell myself that life is going to be full of surprises, good ones and bad ones. And there's none of it that you can't handle. That you might get knocked down, it might get dirty, it might get hard, it might get ugly. But set your mind on your goals and stay steadfast. Stay the course. Don't give up on your dreams, because you only get one shot at it. And I think too many of us settle into things that we're good at, or things that we're expected to do, or just what's easy, because either we don't believe in ourselves or we don't have enough supporters. But you're worth fighting for. And there's a quote by Theodore Roosevelt that you can look up called "A Man in the Arena." And it's basically saying it's not the critics who counts. It's not the people out there pointing their fingers. It's the person in the arena who's marred with dust and sweat and blood. But unlike them, he, who at the best will triumph greatly, but at the very least, he will if he loses and doesn't get there, he will have lived his life while daring greatly instead of living life with the lost and dead souls of those who just never tried to do anything.
Yeah, never knew what they could achieve.
I think a fulfilling life is wrought with unpredictable obstacles constantly. And if it's not you, it's somebody you love. It's things are always happening. So I think it's better to be prepared to know, to tell people, not just go for your dreams, but know that the higher you climb, the more obstacles you will face. But you can do it. And even if you don't believe you can, go for it anyway, because we can usually do a lot more than we believe. And
Absolutely.
It's, again, at the very worst, you'll be proud you did it. You'll be proud you did it. So it's the same kind of story about, there's a lot of sick people, a lot of people struggling. And, I feel like I've learned from everything I've went through. I learned from the scoliosis story that I was mentioning earlier, that at 12, I didn't know that was going to happen. As far as I was concerned, there was nothing good that could come from cutting my back wide open, making me wear this giant brace in middle school, having to learn to walk, having this huge scar for the rest of my life. That's when I started growing my hair. I used to wear my hair really short, but it was to cover the scar. And it when it's happening, you can't realize it. You can't think. And so people quit. But if you'll just hang on and stay your course, you'll find that those things strengthen you, built skill sets in you, built relationships. And for me with cancer, I was like, really, God, like, I haven't been through enough. Like, what lesson? Because I learned that each thing, if you keep your eyes open and you keep trying to do your best, the truth will come to light. There was a plan. You just may not realize it when it's happening. And so for me, it was like, I needed cancer. Like, what more could I possibly gain from this? Oh my God, I gained so much. The number of people that have been impacted by cancer is far greater than ankylosing spondylitis, fibromyalgia, scoliosis. Collectively, with all my illnesses, they may add up, but they still probably won't actually add up to the number of people that get impacted by cancer.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I found out that many of my close friends, let alone my pretty good friends and then my acquaintances, many of them have had cancer. And a number of them are going through cancer now and have never told anyone. They were going through it alone. And I was just actually at the International Open with Mark Wilson and Don Wardell, with Mark White from Great White, anyway, the guitarist. For some reason, my brain is, anyways, first name is Mark, and he's going through it. And I was telling him the importance of telling your story, because sometimes it's not even about you. It's that we need each other and we shouldn't be going through this alone. And sometimes people are watching you even when you don't know it. They're seeing how you handle things. And when you can keep going, you give them the strength also. And he's like, you know what? I'm going to announce it. I'm going to tell people, because you're right. Maybe it can help you, because he wasn't planning on quitting on himself. But he just didn't think it was anyone's business, and it was private. And it's kind of the way I felt, when I first, got on the tour and I was battling a lot of things. My pride, I was like, nobody needs to know my business, all my struggles, my back pain and all that I had well before pool. And I didn't want anyone's pity. And I didn't want anyone to think I was making excuses, because God forbid I lose. I don't want it to be like, oh, it's because of my back. And, so I kept it all to myself, and it was a very lonely road. But since I started having to talk about scoliosis because I became the spokesperson, So I ended up talking about it. And I think the first 25 times I just bawled my eyes out right on stage, because, I wasn't very experienced, but I didn't realize how much healing I had to do. Talking heals and having people around. And so it was a life lesson for me. But I'm also thankful to be able to be really supportive. I'm kind of cancer sisters to many people now because I want to be there for them. So when they're having a bad day, they can call me and know that I understand. Had I not gone public with it, they couldn't do that.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't have gained that. And so with each thing, you gain a different type of compassion. But it's also inspiring to me, and it also inspires so many more people, if that makes sense. And so, I'm really grateful now that I'm alive.
Sure. Well, and we're grateful for that too.
Yeah.
Jeanette, last
really
question.
Hit a lot of people.
Yeah, last question I have for you is, the Black Widow story has had a lot of chapters, right? A lot of ups and downs, twists and turns, a lot of comebacks, a lot of adversity overcome. But you mentioned at the beginning of the interview, you are now starting to look ahead to tomorrow and to look forward. And I'm curious what the next chapter looks like for the Black Widow. What happens? What comes next?
Well, to be honest, my primary focus has always been my girls. So my youngest daughters, I have 3 daughters still at home. My youngest daughters, Chloe and Savannah, they're 15 and 16 now. So getting them to college, which is their goal, but to college feeling very prepared and secure. I've learned and seen many kids that go to college, but they don't know how to do their own laundry. They don't know how to prepare food. They don't know how to budget. They don't know how to grocery shop. They don't know how to take care of their finances, things like that. So in the near future, it's really preparing my children for adulthood in a kind of catch-up kind of way, because I feel like the last 4 or 5 years, I've been kind of part-time parent because I've been sick so much. And also I was loaded on a lot of medication, and I really worked hard. And it's important that you do too, if you're on a lot of medication, to not just trust the doctors. You should trust the doctors, but only you know what you can take and what you can. And I was hell-bent on getting off all those meds. So little by little, I just kept asking for them to be reduced under doctor's guidance. But I'm pretty much on my blood thinner, my chemo, like just a handful of pills, when before it was close to 30 pills. And so I have, family history with blood pressure and stuff like that. So there's just some normal things that as you get older, things start breaking down. You got to take care of yourself a little more, supplement, vitamins, eat healthier, things like that. But yeah, I think I'd like to say there's some big plan, but for me, it really is this year. I wanted to focus on really gaining my health mentally and physically. I want to be ripped by next year. Probably won't be, but I want to be strong. I'm extremely weak. I'm thin, so I look fine as far as everyone's concerned. But if you look underneath the black, it's pretty thin and scrawny. There's not a lot of muscle. My muscles atrophied because I was laying in bed too much, and that's what will happen if you stay in bed. And I think part of it, I stayed in bed because of the cancer, because I was sick, because of the chemo, because of all the meds. But some of it was depression, because things will hit you. And so I just want to really look at my mental health. I want to really build a better process of doing things, because I really want to. I've been living and managing and dealing with ADHD, but not actually focusing my efforts on really getting myself more regular routines. So it's children, it's be a better human for myself. because it's frustrating for me. It's frustrating when I'm late. It's frustrating when I'm behind. It's frustrating when I last minute. It's frustrating when I make other people wait. But it's not that I haven't tried. I still try, but I fail too much. And that means, to me, it's not okay to keep apologizing. You got to get better, and you can't just wait for it to fall in your lap. So I've been doing more research. I've been doing more. I actually started speech therapy last year to build some memory connections, just build my brain up. The brain is a muscle. So you lose, if you don't use it, you'll lose it. And for me, it took on a lot of damage with the chemo and the concussions. And so I really need to not just live with what I have now, but I don't think this is good enough to be the best person I can be. So, and I don't know how long that's going to take, because everything is not in my hands. It's in God's hands. So
yeah.
I'm just going to try to work out, try to stretch, deal with a lot of the health issues that I'm still battling. And I'm trying, like, different. Tyler Starr and Margaret, or his wife, wants me to start the carnivore diet because it's really anti-inflammatory diet, which I have an inflammatory disease. And so I suffer greatly from arthritis and stiffness and swollen joints and things like that. So that would make a big deal for me. And if I could do that without having to take more medication or more surgeries or whatever, it's worth a shot. So things like that. I think that's my near future, and play pool as often as I can. And then obviously be responsible. I would love to be more involved. I'm an ambassador for the V Foundation, but there's a lot more I can do with them. And then being involved in my sport, whether it's with APA, American Pool Players Association, or whether it's with the juniors, or just growing the sport, giving back to the sport. That's always going to be important to me. So I was recently asked to work with a board on certain things that might help grow the sport even more here in America. So that's very exciting for me. So
yeah,
Very cool.
just they're kind of little goals, but they're going to take a lot of effort for me.
Yeah.
Well, we appreciate you taking the time to be with us today and to share so much of your story. You've always been kind of an open book, and I know we'll look forward to seeing what that next chapter or chapters looks like. But if anybody's been paying attention, don't count her out.
Never.
That's right.
Never.
Next thing you know, she'll be the world #1 player again, and you won't know what happened. And so anyway, Jeanette, we appreciate your time. We'll look forward to seeing you next month in Vegas at the APA Pool Player Championships.
Yes.
And keep taking care of yourself in the meantime.
Thank you so much. And you guys can also follow me on social media. I'm sure my Instagram is Jeanette Lee, and you can find me on Facebook, Jeanette Lee, the Black Widow. But also look for an APA league near you, because I've started doing shows again. So I've been traveling around. So find out from your league operator how you can have me come see you. Wow.
Awesome.
Thanks again, Jeanette.
Thank you, guys.
Take care.
Bye. Great talking to her as usual.
She looks fantastic,
she looks
doesn't
amazing.
she? I mean, everything she's gone through the last several years with the cancer treatment, and then the some of the other surgeries. I lost track how many surgeries she's had.
Not too long ago, I think she had another one. It's always an inspiration to hear the things she has to say too. You kind of think to yourself, maybe my problems aren't so bad. Right? That's true. And I thought what was fascinating that she had to say was how all of the things that she's gone through with her health over the years prepared her for her battle with cancer. I mean, that was interesting, and she has definitely a good mindset and a way to look at things, even when things are tough. But to hear that, I was like, wow, that's a great perspective on all the challenges that she's been through. And I really do. I mean, I kind of asked her about this, and she talked a little bit about it. But, before you knew Jeanette Lee, before I knew her, I assumed that she would be very much like a celebrity, kind of standoffish. She had the black and the sex appeal and the, just the whole vibe of the Black Widow kind of screamed like maybe not the friendliest, competitive, the nickname.
But when I met her in 2009, I mean, I don't know if I know a more down to earth, kind. You know, she's so generous with her time, and I really do feel like the health struggles, particularly with the cancer, have made her more relatable, more likable amongst people that maybe don't know her as much. I think those that already know her understand she's much different than maybe you thought when you saw her on ESPN.
Yeah.
But for those that really haven't had a chance to interact with her directly at one of our events or where have you, I do think it makes her a far more likable or relatable person for the regular people out there. And I think that's a great thing. You know, again, her perspective on everything that she's gone through, she keeps it positive.
She does.
And just a great person, really great person. A person I feel like we're lucky to know. I mean, given her stature and standing in the pool community, the pool world, what she's meant to the sport, to be able to call her a friend and to be able to deal with her on a personal level, I think it's special. I consider it special.
No, I agree completely.
And
she's always a pleasure to work with. So easy to work with, like you said, and
she can be late sometimes. You heard her talk about being late sometimes, but she's always very apologetic, and you hear her talking. I'm working on these things, and her world is different than our world, and so I always try to take that into consideration. But it's cool to hear her talk too about how she's never satisfied with who she is or where she's at in life, and man, if you can't take something away from what she has to say and just feel better about things, I don't know. I mean, she's that kind of person, and great representative for APA.
Very much so, yeah. She's always very complimentary of, we're going to talk some more about other women and other pool players, and just, like you said, she's just really great to work with. So. And
she should be back in Vegas.
Yeah, she will be. She'll be back in Vegas for PPC, everybody probably is like, what are these acronyms that you guys keep using? The Pool Player Championships. In April, she will be there for the full week, I believe. So if you'll be there, come meet her.
Yeah, she'll be doing the challenge matches, signing the autographs, interacting with people, and
selling her merch.
That's the other thing I love. I mean, all the circles of social life that she's been in amongst the celebrities and the ESPN and all the things. At the end of the day, she loves being around pool players.
Oh, very much.
There's no doubt about it. I mean, she will take, spending hours upon hours with a group of pool players over hobnobbing and rubbing elbows with Hollywood elites or whatever you want to say. Like, she very much loves the game of pool. You can see that, hear that in what she says. But being around the pool community, I don't think there's anything that gives her more gratification in terms of what she does in terms of her brand or her time than being around the pool players. So come be part of it, come see her. And I love hearing her talk about her next chapters, I mean,
agreed.
It's crazy. It's been 5 years. I was so afraid 5 years ago when we got that news. And I don't know why, because she's Jeanette. I mean, and here we are 5 years later. She looks great. She's, kind of reinventing herself out there, and just really proud of her. And, she's special. There's no doubt.
She really is. She really is. That was one of our, we couldn't find, think of a more appropriate person for Women's History Month than her to feature. Yeah. So, she, of course, was gracious enough to join us and spend a bunch of time with us going through all of that.
Great interview.
Interestingly enough, she's an APA League operator, right?
Yeah.
So you talked a lot about Tampa, how she loves, interacting with the players and stuff. We asked for some submissions on social media for, women that would be good to feature.
Nice.
We got tons of submissions. So it's really hard to go through those. So we're going to feature just a few of those.
Yeah.
But the first one that we're going to see here is actually her co-league operator.
Her business partner.
Yeah, her business partner.
There's a couple that she's partners with, the
her
Spanos,
and her husband.
Stephanie Spano,
Stephanie Spano. So she's our first submission here for Women's History Month. I cannot tell you how many submissions that we got for her. Like, by far and away, she was the one that her players were all on there, like talking so highly of her. So
are these fellow women? Are these men? Who's submitting?
You know, it's both.
Both?
I will
good.
say, generally in these cases, the women kind of are more likely to comment.
Yeah.
But it really was both, because one of them I remember that's on here. I specifically remember the member who nominated this person, and it was a male. So yeah,
nice.
it's a combination of both, but
That's
I would
good.
say primarily women. So Stephanie Spano, she, like we said, she's the league operator with Jeanette and her husband Anthony in Tampa. So we'll take a look at her. This is what one of the people had to say about her. Stephanie works tirelessly, giving 110% every single day to ensure our league of 1,400 players stays informed, organized, and supported. From managing all pool logistics to providing personal and professional guidance through challenging situations, she does it all with dedication and heart. She's one tough cookie, never afraid to stand up when players step out of line, while always maintaining fairness and respect. Above all else, the integrity she brings to the league and her genuine love for the game are truly priceless. I mean, what a well-worded submission.
Yeah,
too,
who wrote that? AI?
No, it was not AI. It was an actual, well, I guess the person
An actual
could have
person
used,
ran through AI?
I
No,
guess
it's good.
the person could have used
Good
AI.
stuff. Heartfelt. Yeah, Stephanie's great. I actually had dinner with her and Anthony in Vegas at the League Operator Awards banquet.
Oh, nice.
Sat with them and talked for a while. And I know she's been speaking of Jeanette, she's been a godsend for Jeanette because, you know, she's, especially when Jeanette was really struggling health-wise, really helping her out, making sure, you know, she was where she needed to be. So she really going above and beyond a partnership for the league and really helping Jeanette just kind of, you know, get through some of the tougher times that she's had.
Right.
So shout out to Stephanie for sure.
So the next one we have here, do you want to read that one? Tracy Day.
Talking about Tracy Day here.
Yeah.
What can I tell you about Tracy Day? She gets all the recognition. She's not a league operator, but she does run half of the leagues for APA Louisville. She runs the Ladies League 8-ball doubles, 9-ball doubles, Jack and Jill, Tuesday night 8-ball teams, and she deserves so much more than praise. Nice shot of her on the table too. There, it looks like
in Vegas.
Does look like Vegas, right? Is that Jake in the background up at the podium?
Oh, maybe.
Like? I don't know.
Yeah, I think it is.
Trying to figure out where exactly. I feel like that's the main room in Vegas. So.
I think it is.
Anyway, shout out to Tracy Day for all her hard work helping out the APA of Louisville.
Yeah, absolutely. The next one we have is Peggy White. This one says, my 78-year-old mom, Peggy White, who plays even with having MS. She's been playing since 2014 and is my inspiration in life and in Pool League. Really sweet.
Yeah, I know we talk about this a lot, but it's one of the great things about pool is, you know, even with health challenges, age, whatever, gender, general athletic ability, you know, you can be part of pool. I actually talked to a reporter yesterday. I was doing a story for the New York Times or New York Daily News, some New York publication. I was a little surprised, and he was talking about just pool kind of being on the rise, which it is. You know, we had more members last year than ever in our 40-plus year history. And, you know, we were just talking about why. You know, he wanted to know why I thought pool was growing. And I said, well, it's, you know, you see a lot more of it on screen, but it's also the fact that anybody can do it.
Literally, yeah.
It really is not just for the most athletic or the tallest or the fastest. It really is one of those that can be enjoyed by everyone, and because it's accessible like that, I do think it lends itself to growth in a lot of different ways. So anyway, shout out to Peggy there. Next one up is this Kai? Kai Fellows. This person wanted to nominate Kai Fellows of San Diego APA. She's an amazing ambassador for the sport, a wonderful lady and a fierce competitor. Also a good friend and mentor to many of the pool players that she has recruited. Love to hear that. Again, looks like she's somebody that's been out to Vegas, if I'm looking at her tag there correctly.
She's well known. She's known by a lot of our staff too.
Okay.
I think she's helped out with some things. She's another one that was nominated by
several people. Good for her.
And then it was posted yesterday out on our Facebook page, on all of our social platforms. And she got so many comments of people. Yeah, a lot of responses of people praising her. So
nice.
Shout out to Kai.
I know that San Diego APA community is pretty tight.
Yes, very much
people,
Liza's area, Liza Gasman's area. Okay, so our next one's Shannon Mays. Shannon corrals our Ladies League division in Ozark, Alabama. She coordinates with local people in our area to help donate to people going through tough seasons in life. We as a division have raised hundreds, if not thousands, for deserving local charity and nonprofit groups and individuals. She's everyone's mama when it comes to who to call when you have a question. Our community shines brighter with her help.
Man, that's great.
Yeah. That's
Giving
really
back
nice.
to the community. I know last episode we highlighted some of the charity efforts at some of our league operators. So it's good to know that players around the country are using the league to help others, and that's what it's all about.
Absolutely.
So, good stuff. All right, so we're on to Kathy.
Goodman.
Kathy Goodman. Kathy possesses an exceptional ability to foster teams built on genuine connection, creating a culture of support and camaraderie that extends well beyond the table. As a veteran and multi-business owner, Kathy's schedule is demanding, yet she consistently shows up for her team, ensuring they have everything they need to succeed. Outside of the team, she owns and operates Cool Billiards. Okay, Cool Billiards. Wonderful family-owned pro billiards shop where she connects with the community and actively helps grow the league. As a local division rep, she has most recently spearheaded the development of a brand new division within her league, fostering relationships, building community, and serving as an invaluable resource for new players finding their footing in the game. You see her there pictured with our own Ava Lawrence in Coastal Carolina APA. So shout out to Kathy Goodman and all the great work she's doing for her league area.
Veteran and a business owner, multi-business owner.
Good for her.
Yeah.
That's a really good woman to stand out for
Absolutely.
Women's History Month. Women making a difference.
Boss woman. Okay, the next one we've got, I think this is our last one, Eileen Connolly. They said no matter what the situation, whether it's our Lake and Osceola APA League, helping our veterans, supporting friends, encouraging teammates, keeping the peace, or going to bat and fighting for what's right, Eileen shows up every single time. She doesn't just talk about it, she does it. She uplifts everyone around her, stands firm when it matters, protects, serves, encourages, and leads with both strength and compassion. She's the epitome of dedication, loyalty, and love in action. Our league and community is so blessed and better because of her. You guys are killing it.
Yeah, really well worded. Plus, it looks like Eileen knows Santa Claus. I mean, if you're going to know somebody, that's the person to know.
Yeah.
Picture there with Santa. But yeah, really well worded submissions there from people.
Yeah, very nicely worded. And appreciate all. I mean, you guys, there was so many of these submitted.
Yeah, we could have gone on and on for hours, but nobody would have watched for that long.
Right. It's hard to pick these, so we just kind of, do our best to pull a couple of these out of here and feature these women that are, doing awesome things in the league.
But you can go to those posts on
100%,
Facebook, right, and kind of read through and see who was acknowledged. And
go read through them all.
Even if we weren't able to put it here on the show, I mean, it's nice that somebody in the league took the time to say, hey, this person deserves recognition, and that's great.
Yeah. Shout out to all the women, Women's History Month.
All the ladies.
All the ladies out there. So we talked about Vegas. We've talked about women of the APA. We've had a lot of interleague events happening lately, too.
I feel like they're always happening. I feel
they
like
are,
don't
but
stop.
it seems like lately there's been two since we last had a show. So I think I don't remember off the top of my head which one we featured last month, but there's been two that have happened since then. And then looking at my calendar, there's one almost every weekend coming up, going to Vegas. Yeah, up to Vegas time. So we should have several of these to cover next month as well.
Yeah, and those interleague events, those are like multi-league events within a certain area of the country, in case you don't know what they are.
Yeah.
Because I know a lot of times people say, well, how do I play in that? Well, sometimes you can't necessarily play in that if you live, somewhere far away. It's mainly for kind of people in that region for the most part.
Yeah.
Maybe some exceptions there, but multi-league events. Interleague is what we call them, but yeah, multi-league, kind of a level between your local, playoffs or world qualifier and the big show in Vegas. Yeah. It's kind of a nice little area in between where you can get a little taste of that experience. I think. Players
really seem to like these events.
Yeah.
And there's more and more of them popping up.
Dozens of them now.
I want to say both of these we're going to talk about today are newer events. Well, one of them it's the first year. So the first one is the APA Ohio State Tournament 8-ball. This was I don't know if they have a 9-ball event too, but they specified 8-ball. This one was held February 13th through 15th. It was an 8-ball team event held at Cushions Billiards and Bank Shots Billiards in Ohio. First place prize was $5,000 and 64 teams competed in that event. So pretty good size, yeah. And I think it was teams throughout. She gave me a list of all of the league areas who competed. But
Is that Candy's event?
Yeah, Candy Fleischman's.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's a new event, though. I feel like the
maybe
Ohio
it's
State
not.
event
Maybe
has
I
been
just,
been out there for a while.
Yeah,
but.
maybe it's been out there for a while, and I, haven't seen a whole lot about it on my feed.
Yeah.
But this year, taking first place was Chalk is Cheap from the Central Ohio APA.
Chalk is cheap.
Congrats to them. Looks like they took home $5,000 for that.
Nice.
Yeah, not bad. Second place was Third Time's a Charm from the Akron Canton APA.
Okay. I guess they've played in this 3 times, maybe?
Yeah, maybe.
Well, almost.
They finally run it
pretty
up,
good day.
right?
What'd they take home? Do we know? Looks like a good amount of cash
It looks
for
like I
them,
didn't
too.
write that down.
I'm guessing
I
maybe.
want to say 3.
Wow.
maybe
okay.
around 3.
I mean, it looks
I'm not
like the
positive,
substantial
but
amount
yeah.
on the table there. So
If first place was 5, I would, you could guess it's probably 2,000 or 3,000. I didn't write that down, unfortunately. And then our third place winners were I Don't Know from the Eastern Ohio APA.
I don't
Guess
know.
they didn't know their
They didn't know what to
team
name their team, so they just went with we.
And
don't
then
know.
the next team name that got third place, I'm not sure that one would have gotten through the team name committee.
Oh. Are we even going to say it? Maybe not. I want to get in trouble. What is it? I have to look
They're
at
from the
this.
Southwestern Ohio APA, but I don't think their team name would have went through the our team name review committee.
Yeah, probably not. We'll leave it off the show, but it is. I'll hear. It starts with quitcher,
Yeah, and then you can kind of
and then a word that starts
you
with
can kind
B.
of put it together
Yeah,
from there.
quitcher and a word that starts with a B. There we go.
The Southwestern Ohio APA. I was
They're so
laughing at
creative
that.
with the team names,
Right? You guys are. I mean, they didn't technically use the word, I guess.
No, I know they try to get around it, which is good. It's like what was the Simpsons where he used to call the place and he would say, "Hey, can you page of such and such?" And kind of reminds me of that. But
If y'all go to Vegas, you're gonna have to change that name.
yeah, do people understand why we're strict on the
I
names?
don't
Because
think
we
so.
love the names too. They're
We do.
funny.
We think they're hilarious.
Some of them get a little too like raunchy, and I'm like, is that really what you want people to call you? Like, what happens if you win the championship and then we put you on TV locally? Like, is that really what you want to be called in front of your local friends, family, coworkers in your moment of glory?
Yeah.
Like, so I get that it's funny, but if you think through like where you may go,
Right.
think through a little more, right?
Yeah.
Like you don't want to have this like really offensive, raunchy, ridiculous name if it's your moment of glory. And so I don't know that people necessarily look at it like that when they first come up with the names.
No, probably not. They just think it's funny.
But it is why we are a little strict on it.
Also, we're in the Pool Dog Arena streaming the match, and then
Well, they always ask me, they're like, do you have a problem? I'm like, I don't have a problem saying any name,
No.
frankly. I mean, anyway, I remember a name like Don't Care, Brush Your Hair. Like, I had to say that over and over. Like, the champions don't care, brush your hair.
yeah,
It's fine.
Yeah, we've had
It's
a few.
fine.
We've had a few.
I don't care. It's not my team name. I'm just saying it. But, that's why we do what we do.
Yeah.
So got off on a little tangent there.
The next event we'll talk about was their inaugural event. So this was the first year for this event called Rumble in the Rockies.
Rumble in the Rockies.
Looked like a really nice event. Held at Hilton's on Canyon in Boulder, Colorado. There's the league operators there that run that event. And with Florian. Florian actually came
Florian
straight
went up?
from here. He was here filming with us last week.
Oh, this was just last week?
Yeah, this was just last week.
Okay.
It was over the weekend.
Yeah.
Florian was here filming some stuff with us, so look out for that to be coming soon too.
We've had
lots
all
of
these
new
people in the
content.
studio. We got some more people coming in the studio. Lots going on.
Yeah, so he went up there for a show because that was March 12th through 15th. 8-ball event, 3-person teams, and then they held some mini events too. So that's pretty cool. First place team took home $3,600, and that's Metro Denver number 5. I guess they do like the Southwest Challenge and do their team
Just
names
assign
by
it by where
numbers.
they're
Yeah.
from. Okay.
So pretty cool. That first place team there. And then the second place team was Colorado Springs, number 2. Shout out to them. And then our third place teams were Palmer Divide, number 1. They took home $900 each. And then Palmer Divide, number 3. Taking home $900 too. So congrats to all those teams. And all the, that looked like a really nice event that they held for the first time. I think they're going to bring it back again next year.
Nice.
So one more to add to our list of interleague events.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, we should have plenty for next month. I think the Great Lakes maybe is coming up.
I think Southwest Challenge
Southwest
happens in
Challenge,
March.
I want to say
Vegas.
9-ball maybe event. Yeah, that one's coming up.
That's like the granddaddy of them all, I feel like. That's one of the first interleague events ever.
Yeah, there's a few of them. I was looking through my calendar before this, and there was one almost every weekend coming up. I think there's one up in Montreal that's coming up too. So
I guess the league operators have all the people qualified for April.
Yeah.
And so now they have time to run additional tournaments.
Right.
So they stay busy.
For sure. All right, guys. Well, that was a full show. I think that's what we've got for you today.
Appreciate Jeanette joining us and
absolutely
kind of updating us on where she's at with things. And again, look forward to seeing her again next month in Vegas, along with many
all
of you. So
yeah, that's all we got for today. So we will see you soon. Bye,
See ya.
guys.